Hello, everyone, and welcome to Math 1314 for the Minimester. My name's Terry Barnes, and I'll be with you on this really quick journey through college algebra. There's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is you've got to do all of this from May 12th to May 27th, so that's not quite 3 weeks. The good news is in that short amount of time, you're going to get credit, 3 hours of college credit for college algebra. It's definitely doable. I teach this every semester in this format, and usually people do well. So let's look at a few items to just acquaint you with the course, what the expectations are, and where everything is. So you've obviously logged in to Brightspace, and you've clicked on the orientation. Let's look at the top up here. Um, and some of these you may not see because I am on my side and the student side may not have everything. But announcements, you could go here. If you don't see all of them on your screen, you can go here and see them all. Content, you can get your content from that tab, but I've put everything that you need right here in this box. These two, homework and test and gradebook, may work. I can't test them from your side. They work from my side. But if not, this is where the Pearson app is. And we'll do that in a minute. But you can either click that for a drop down, open in a new window, or you can click this purple oblong shape here and get it. So you might could get things from here. And I would say try that. But if not, this is your best option. So, and then if you hit more, you can get the e-text there if you need it. Now, I'm giving you all the notes and lecture notes and videos that I think you need to survive in the class. But if you need the book, it is right there. And if you need the class list for any reason, there it is there as well. So let's go through these items and go through them and just pick out some things that you might need to know. So instructor plan, you should read this. We're not going to go through every word of it right now, but you should look at it and go through it. Let's pull it up. So this is the syllabus for the Minimester course. It's got a description. It's got course notes and instructor recommendations. Here's my information. My MCC email is right there. My office phone number. Now, I am not going to be on campus, but you could call and leave a voicemail if you needed to, and it will translate to an email. I will get that voicemail. My office location is there, but again, I will not be on campus. As far as office hours, if you need to meet with me, speak to me, or get help by seeing something, we can Zoom by request, but most times in this, I can answer your questions by email. So let's try that. But if you need to, we can Zoom if we need to do something further. The required text and materials, you don't need a hard copy book, you have an e-text. This is being offered as inclusive access. That means you do not have to purchase a book. The electronic information is included in tuition payments. You do need a TI 8384 graphing calculator. You can use an app. There's several that work on your phone. And we'll talk about that again in a minute because that's in the content. These are the objectives in general of the course, so you could read through those. Course attendance. Um, you you can't be absent for more than 25% of a face-to-face class or an online class. So I take attendance by participation in online courses. So I'll look at it every weekend. So that's 2 weekends. And if you're doing nothing, that's an absence. So my goal for you is to be working on something every day, whether it's one question, whether it's a whole chapter, whatever it is, you need to be working each day. That's the only way you get all of this done and prepared to take the final by the end. So let's do that. I don't think we'll have any attendance issues. Here's a basic calendar. And you'll note that it shows a start date of May 12th. It has an end date of May 28th. And actually, grades are due the 28th, so that really should be the 27th. And I will fix that as far as the written calendar. So everything will be due on the 27th because I have to submit grades on the 28th. So keep that in mind. But what this means is everything's available day one. It's ultimately due down here on May 27th. So you can work at your own pace, but you must be doing work to be counted present. Now, if you finish early, that's not an issue as far as attendance. So keep that in mind as well. Talk about the grading. My course is set up between homework, tests, and final exam. Homework, you can do every question 3 times until you get it right. If you get it right, perfect. If you don't, it'll generate a new question and you have another 3 tries. You should keep doing your homework till you get 100. That counts 30% of your total average. So homework is all out there. And your test will not open unless you've completed the homework. So keep that in mind. You have 5 to 6 tests plus a comprehensive final. Tests count 50%. And here it is. Before each test is available, whether you're online or face-to-face, all the homework has to be completed with at least a 70. So you've got to pass your homework in order for the test to open. It will not open without that. So you want to go systematically, do your homework, and then do that test. Then start your next chapter, do that homework, do that test. That's the way you should approach this. Final exam, 20% of your final average. And you do get 2 tries on your chapter test. The higher of the grade counts. The other one just doesn't figure in your average. You don't have to take it twice. You're just allowed to if you want to. Final exam is only offered once. Okay. And late work, well, ultimately, when we get down to the end of the course, if you haven't done something, it does go to a 0. So if you get down there and you think, wow, I got an 85, but you missed 5 homeworks and a test, well, those are all going to go to 0 and you will no longer have an 85. So keep that in mind as you go through the course. All right. Okay, I think that's it for the instructor plan. Let's see what's next in line. All right, contact info, that is in there. That's the same thing you would see in the syllabus. It's got my email and my office phone. Schedule and office hours, really not as important for that because we talked about I'm not in the office. So this is you and me, and we're going to do this Minimester. The calendar is the same one that we just looked at, but it is here outside of the instructor plan. And again, that date is the 27th. And I will try to make sure that gets changed before you are opening this up. All right, let's go to the next thing. All right, next here, there's 3 things: problem set links, picture, lecture note links, and lecture videos. There is a set of these for each section of each chapter. Here's how I would suggest that you go through the course. Let's open up the problem sets, go to chapter 1 and 2. All right, let's see. See if I can get this. Let's open this one up. Okay, this is the first section, section 1.3. and it's some problems. And we go through here, and there are 11, 12 problems. The answers are after there. So, if you've had Algebra 2 and you feel comfortable, you might jump right in here and start this, but you may not. These are blank problems. They don't count for a grade. That's to practice before you do the homework. All right, let's go back then and look at the lecture notes that go with this. All right, so now we go to the lecture notes and go to 1 and 2. And here's section 1.3, and we will double click there, and that is opening. And these are my notes. And if you were in class, these are the things that would be up on the screen, and you would be copying down things. So this is all about functions and what happens and evaluating a function and domain and range and interval notation. We cover all of that. And then down here, here's those problems, those plain problems, the problem set. Write the inequality in interval notation. Well, remember, interval notation was this chart here going from inequality form to interval to graph. So there's that in the lecture notes. And here's the problem set stuff. How do I write that in interval notation? Same thing there. How do I go from this graph to interval notation? So all of that is covered. Then you have a graphing question, which I've given you some notes here that says enlarge the graph, choose the line tool, and it shows you right here, and then pick 2 points. If x is 0, if I, and we'll talk about that in the video, but all of the notes are here. We'll do a few graphing questions, then some things about ordered pairs, etc., etc. And we get down to section 1.3, number 12. So that's the lecture notes with all the problems worked out and all the notes that you would need. Now let's go look at the video. All right, so here's the lecture videos. When we click that, it's going to go to my YouTube channel. I have a channel for every course I teach. And so this will go to my college algebra YouTube links. And here's the sections, okay? And so if we click this, we're going to get me talking. Let's see if this will come through.
Make it look easy.
Here are your references formatted according to APA guidelines.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry about
With
that.
Vinted, Kayla can easily earn extra cash. She just has to list and sell what she doesn't wear, all with 0 fees. Don't
Skip, finally.
This is
I'm so
section
sorry about that.
1.3 for college algebra. And we start off talking about functions and their representations, and this will
All
follow
right,
us.
so all I wanted you to, so the video is there, but you may or may not need all of it, but it is there for you if you need it. So let's see what else is in that content box. Okay, in here there is a handout box, and if you click that, again, we're going to go to my Dropbox links, and there's just a few there. There is a manual for the TI Inspire. Let me move this over a little bit. So if you happen to use a TI Inspire, this is going to help you do some of the things that you may not know how to do on there that we're going to do. So that might be important. The yellow packet is something that I hand out to my class in class, and I give them this, and it is, let's see if I can move this over so you can see it. So it is a long document, but it has tons of information. And if you have the ability to print, I would print that and use those notes when you are working on homework or when you're testing, This is a great document to help you with college algebra, and that is to be expected. In my face-to-face class, it's printed in yellow, and they are allowed to have the yellow packet out, is formulas. So think about that as you get ready to do your work. All right, here is a TI-84 calculator. Let's see what I've got in there. That may just be an online version of the calculator, and I'm not sure how well it's going to work out. I just found it the other day. So let's see, if we cleared that. I don't know if this is even working. Let's try 7 times 8 and enter. So it is working, and if you needed to graph, you could hit y equals and you can do your graph. So if you don't have a calculator, there is a button there that could help you get this one to do some of your work. Hopefully this will continue to work for you. Let's look at that next button. The next button is Calculator Help, and when you click on that, there are some phone apps that I show you whether you're on the iPhone or you're on an Android. There's some regression notes, calculator exam review, calculator help video. There's a bunch of videos showing you how to do certain things, and calculator worksheets. None of this is to turn in or anything, but it is some helpful resources for you. So if you're struggling on the calculator, maybe go to the content box, go to calculator help. Again, here's how to get some of the phone apps. Regression notes, how to do that. If we do have a calculator test, and so this exam review is about that test. So that might be worthwhile to go over. So there's that. The last really important thing here is final exam review. So when you're ready to take the final exam, be sure you click on that and see what information is there for you. These student MML links, they may work for you. I am not sure what is showing up on your side. But let's go through the Pearson thing and look at the homework and look at the tests. Okay, let's try the purple thing first and see what we get. We get this. Now you're not going to see the instructor tools. You're going to see the student links here. You could go look at your assignments there. You can also just click here, open my lab and mastering, and it's going to come up with some information on the side. Let me see if I can move my screen over. So you'll see that you have assignments. This is all your work. That's where you can go in and do your work. You can also see the grade book here. Now, let me move. Let's go over. Let's see. You can see everything is available, and it is due May 27th at 11:59 p.m. So everything's there. Now, you can see little flags here. Remember I said you had to pass everything. So if you hit that flag, it's reminding you, you got to pass all these homeworks up here before this thing is going to open. And here's the calculator test, test 1 and 2. Now what I do want you to see is over here to the side. This tells you on those tests how long you have. You have 90 minutes on that calculator test, but you have an infinite number of tries. You can take it over and over and over again. So no reason not to get 100 on that. For chapter 1 and 2, you have 2 hours. You have 2 tries. Same thing with chapter 3. Chapter 4 is 150 minutes, so a little bit longer. You have 2 tries. Chapter 5 is also 150 minutes. Now, your material is getting harder as we go along, so you get a little bit longer. When you get to the chapter 6, that is online multiple choice about matrices. It's pretty easy on the calculator, so you don't need much more than 90 minutes. 0 of 2 tries. Final exam, 150 minutes, you get 1 try at that, right? So study, study, study for that. All right, let's look at a homework and see what that might look like. So here's 1.3. We looked at that in the problem set. We looked at that in the class lecture. So we go here. All right, in here, it's reminding you again that you've got to score at least 70 before you can start that chapter test. Let's go to question 1. And that comes up. And all your questions will come up right here. And this is like that first part of the problem set that we looked at in the lecture notes. Write the inequality in interval notation. So when you're ready to answer that, you put your mouse here, click, some things pop up down here, icons that you may need. You may need parentheses for ordered pairs. You may need a fraction, that sort of thing. If you hit more, you get a whole bunch. You'll need for the matrices part in chapter 6. That one and that one. There's your square root, your absolute value. So a lot of things that you may need that don't pop up till you get inside there. Now, what if let me get out of this part of it. If um if I click in here, I'm just going to put some gobbledygook here. And I'm going to say check my answer. And it says, check that you have used the appropriate grouping symbols, recall, and it's going to give you a little hint. If I don't change it, if I don't redo it better, and I still say check, I'm going to get that same thing. And then I've got my final check. That's my third try. And if I don't change it, here's what I get. Okay, this is the correct answer. This is what I answered. And so you could practice some things by doing the skill builder. You don't have to. If you want to, you can. But what happens is now, can I work on a similar question or do I want to go on? I can come back to it, but if I want a similar question, I go here and it just changes the question and I get to go ahead and finish it. But let's say you're really stuck. You've been doing something and you just can't make it work. You could view an example, but I already have examples in my notes, so that may not be as much help. But under Get More Help, ask my instructor. If you need to ask me about a homework question, please do it this way. Hit Ask My Instructor. It's going to send me an email with your question, your specific numbers. You can type in here, I've tried this and this. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Can you help with this? Do not send me something and say, I don't know how to do this, or something that doesn't give me any help in helping you, because I need to know what you're thinking, what you've tried, that sort of thing, before you just say, I don't know how to do this, because I have told you how to do it in the notes and the practice and the homework leading up to the homework. So just give me a little bit of information on what you're stuck with, and then I can get right back to you. So that's under Get More Help. So if I get out of this, it says changes may not be saved, but I'm just going to go. So I've missed that question and I can go back and I can skip it for now, or I can go back and work on it. So that's how the homework will go. Now, also, let's go out of here and let's go to the chapter 1 and 2 test. I wanted you to see that. And it says you can't do that. Now, if I'm an instructor, I can go ahead and go. All right, now, this is about the test. When you're ready to do a test, when it lets you in, it will tell you when it's due. It'll remind you how many tries you have. And if you're not sure about entering answers, you could click here. You have 120 minutes, and then you'll start. And there will be a clock running on the test. You need to finish it in one setting, and then you can review it in the grade book. If it's not the grade you want, you can take it again. Doesn't have to be right then. You could study some more. So that's how the testing will go. So I'm going to get out of that and out of that. So that's how all of that will go, all the way down to the final exam. All right. So let's get out of here and over to the left. Just wanted to show you the grade book is here. So if we hit grade book, every time you do something, it's going to automatically show up here. And I have to keep changing my screen. So over here, this tells you you've worked on one homework out of 30. So you got 30 homeworks, one quiz. The quiz is the final exam. You've got 6 tests. So 6 tests, one quiz, and homework. This says, okay, you don't have anything right. You spent 3 minutes on it. This is when you worked it. I will see all of this. How long did it take you? What are you doing? If you're finishing a hard assignment in 2 minutes, then we're gonna have a conversation. I need to know what you're doing that you're getting through that. Um, so keep that in mind. Then the only other thing to look at there is, let me push this over. So if your whole grade isn't showing, you can click here and get overall score. So it may come up like this. You can always click the overall score and your average will always show here. So you'll be able to see where you are in the course. So let's get out of here. Okay, so I think that is the overview that will get you going. Um, just be sure that you do what you need to do. I would go in order. I would do all the stuff for chapter 1 and 2, then take that test. I've said that before. Do the calculator test once, try it, see how you do. There is that calculator test review in the content box. You could go through that, but periodically take that test again till you get 100 on it. And that will be that. I will be checking on you often, and you email me for anything that you need because we're going to get through this together. So good luck, and I look forward to working with you.